Corner. My name is Heather Swift, and I'm delighted to be your host. The purpose of the Career Corner is to help move people from career distress to career success. Today's guest is Andrea Garrido, who is from the Seton Hall Career Center. She's an associate director and has been there for around 8 years, helping different youth and graduate students find their next job opportunities. Is this correct?
That's right. We also help alumni as well.
Great. Thank you so much for being here today. So I wanted you to be on because this is such a timely topic in helping our college grads look for how to uncover the next opportunity, what to do and what not to do. And also, many people have graduated from universities and colleges, and I think we forget to tap into the college resources that want to pull in alumni, especially when they're going through transition as well.
Right.
So how are today's grads? How are the class of 2010? Are you finding people to be landing?
We actually do. We are finding people to land positions, and it's those students who have utilized our services and those students who started early in the search. And, we're finding great success with a lot of people. But then, of course, there's those that we really want to see that we haven't, and they're the ones that are not having as much success.
Do you find that when people see their peers that are getting the interviews that started ahead of the curve to make sure that they're market ready and savvy, have done their research, all the things you want them to do, and then their roommate is like, oh man, like I haven't done any of this, are they kind of snapping to finally and kind of running in the door at the last minute like,
yes, I mean, we see our share that are coming last minute, but it's, we wish that they would come earlier in their college career, but if they're coming now, great. At least we can work with them. That's
good, because I think it's such a wonderful resource to have. And on the outside, people pay, thousands and thousands of dollars to have, a coach, so to speak, to help them, and just the tools and the guidelines and everything like that. What are the kids that are being placed now? What have they done that's helped them? You mentioned getting ahead of the curve. How long have they been doing a job search, or when did they start? How many months in advance?
The most successful students, and we stress this, are those that have come to see us beginning freshman year. And we have,
wow, really?
Yes, and we have workshops, we have introductory meetings with our freshman students from the moment they walk in the door. Those that start early and start internships early, and I can't stress that enough, is getting internships. They're the most successful, because the employers that are really looking to their internships as their pipeline to getting full-time positions, especially in this economy. It's a chance for the student to get a feel for the position, for the industry, and it's a chance for the employer to get to know them. So those that start early come to our events, come to our one-on-one sessions with our career professionals. They're the ones that are finding positions even in this economy.
So this is interesting, because it never occurred to me until you just said that just now, that advice for incoming college students to go to their career resource center, whatever university, whether it's a 2-year school, a 4-year school, college, etc., to say, hi, here I am, and see what they have available to start prepping them for that. Because there's a saying in corporate America about being the known candidate.
Yes.
So to be, I want to meet you before you even need me. So when there's an opportunity, you're like, hey, Heather would be great for that. It's kind of getting in there ahead of the game. So you're teaching these young students how to start, the tools, the strong handshake and just eye contact and all of those good things. So that's good advice. So all those moms and dads watching us,
absolutely,
as they're graduating from high school, tell them to
It's never too early. It really isn't. They need to come in and introduce themselves.
And start utilizing. Do you do mock interviews at Seton Hall?
We do. We do mock interviews. We have, over 200 workshops and programs that we do in a year.
Oh, wow.
So anywhere from interview workshops to panel discussions of employers that come in, alum that come in, mock interviewing. We have, the gamut of preparation and workshops for students.
And all 4 years, kids are invited to come?
Absolutely, yes. So, some are targeted to certain colleges. Of course, it really, it varies, but absolutely, we are, open to anyone that wants to utilize the service.
So what do you enjoy the most about your job?
well, I mean, I think it's working with the students, I personally work with graduate level and alumni. I used to work with undergrad, but I think it's just, regardless of whether they're a first-year student or an alum with 25 plus years experience, I think it's helping people on their journey, whether it's beginning of their journey, of their career journey, or maybe they're reinventing themselves, or re-entering the workforce, or making a career change, or going in for the first time. It's all, it's my passion.
That's wonderful. It's all very connected.
It is.
It's nice, and that's why I was excited about being able to put together the Career Corner, looking at all different elements of the life cycle, the career life cycle, because you're either entering something new or leaving something old.
Yes.
Sometimes not by choice, but the skills we learn along the way with the resiliency and just do's and don'ts and things of that nature. How are you finding today's graduates and the kids coming into school with their social skills? We are talking, as the eyebrows go up, because there's so much, tweeting and texting and that, but you still need the eye contact and the social skills. And we had a panel in the city of some top HR folks, and they were talking about how they're reteaching social skills to their new hires in the early 20-somethings, because they're not very proficient in the one-on-one human aspects of employment. Are you finding that when you're working with these kids that are more comfortable,
Absolutely.
with their thumbs as opposed to a handshake?
It's one of our biggest challenges.
Okay.
It's just really educating them as to how to present themselves appropriately. We have interviews, we have employers that come on campus, and that's a lot of the feedback that we get. It's just we have some that they're very well prepared. They have all their responses, but they're sort of almost over-prepared and canned, and not knowing, having the business acumen and the maturity to kind of, use it in the appropriate way.
Okay.
But also, yes, we do have, the social, with texting and, emails, even thank yous that we see that are going to employers. I can't tell you how many times we'll see grammatical errors or abbreviations or very casual language, and it's something that it's just a whole it's a challenge.
It's interesting. Yeah, that wasn't an issue when I was graduating from college.
Yes.
It's just, we didn't have cell phones then even, so it was so different.
Even, you mentioned cell phones, just the message that's left on on one cell phone, or the email addresses, appropriate email addresses,
Yes. Hotmama@AOL.com is
not
gonna
working,
go over
but
well
we
with
see
Pricewaterhouse.
it. We see it.
Okay, I bet you do.
Yeah.
We have a college day at Lehigh Harrison once a year, and it's always great because we pull in the experts to talk to our clients' children about, how you're representing yourself in your brand, and just letting other experts talk to them. And the funny thing is, many of these kids have HR parents, but yet kids don't listen to their parents a lot. So to pull in other experts, all of a sudden, they're so wise.
Yes.
They're from Nielsen or they're from wherever, and it's very interesting because that is surfacing more and more. And I think young people have always needed coaching, but it's almost now with social media, it's a different element added in on top of everything else that's more old school, but still also very substantial and important with that. So in looking at the graduates, for coming in for their higher degrees of education with Seton Hall and tapping into you, are there obstacles that they're facing differently, since it seems like everyone's kind of taking jobs a little less than in some ways during a down economy, that they're harder to find? Are you finding that to be the case right now?
For the graduate population, absolutely. And we're seeing an increase, obviously, in people that want to get their graduate degree just because of the economy. And there are, there's less opportunity, with internships, with full-time positions, and we're even seeing, internships that are not paid, even at the graduate level. And so everyone, undergraduates, graduate level, and alum, really need to be flexible and open, and just concentrate on building your resume, getting, an internship or whatever it takes to get a foot in the door.
Are you, in coaching the graduates, you may feel, I should be in a more senior role or something different because I've already paid my dues in some ways, with that frustration? Are you, how are you coaching them about accepting, what positions, kind of trying to keep it somewhat tied to what they're interested in? Because whatever job we choose, it kind of helps set a trajectory. So how would you coach them around that, around how to align themselves with what job, even if it's maybe not their first pick, but it's a job and it's something that's available?
I think as long as it's targeted and it's strategic and it's maybe a means to an end or a bridge position to get to the ultimate position. I mean, I think people need to be flexible, adaptable, and understand they might not get that dream position. I work with a number of, from graduates with little professional experience to those with more seasoned professionals. Okay. So it really, it depends on who I'm working with, but people just need to really stay flexible. But at the same time, not accept just anything, but just something that is more strategic and will ultimately, hopefully, lead to that position that they really want.
I guess, and by the time folks are in graduate school, hopefully they've done the self-assessment. How do you, coach people or advise the students to make sure they're aligned with their core goals of who they are and their values and things like that while they're making, it's a big decision when you're paying that extra money for a second degree education. Yeah.
Well, hopefully by that time they have some thought or, idea of where they want to go, but absolutely, I mean, people come to us that, ready to, here's my resume, I want to, just start sending it out. But it really starts with that self-assessment and understanding, okay, what are the skills, the values, the interests, personality, the environment that one wants to work in, and really thinking about, what their strengths are, where they, what a niche might be that they're, an area that they might have that they can market to an employer. And then they really need to then look at, okay, I know who I am, who needs me? And so then they can do a market search. And then the resume, a targeted resume. So that's, the advice. I mean, they really do need to understand themselves and then find something that's a good fit.
Yeah, because you can't really fake passion. You can't fake alignment. And I think some people have tried that, and it makes for really unhappy people waking up every day. And you see that, and then after finally either they get released or decide to leave, they're like, oh.
Or it leads to burnout.
Yes,
and
or
stress.
Burnout, yeah. All of it. And so it's so ideal when things kind of line up, especially at a young age, even from freshman year on, to keep exploring, what do I love, what am I good at? And I don't think we always need to know what we want to do so much as knowing the strength and the values and things of that nature. So we're going to be taking a break in a moment here. So when we come back, maybe we can dive into how people can touch base with their alumni and how people from Seton Hall utilize the Career Center as alums for that. We'll be right back with Andrea Garrido from Seton Hall Career Center.
After 17 years working as a mason, Mike was laid off. I met him when he came into the library looking for help. He found a job opening, but the application was only online. Mike said he'd spent his entire life around tools, but had never used a computer. I showed him how, and he ended up applying for numerous jobs online. I saw Mike the other day. His new computer skills paid off. He's working again.
New Jersey libraries are transforming lives. Tell us your story.
Hi, welcome back to the Career Corner. Today's guest is Andrea Garrido, who is the Associate Director at the Seton Hall Career Center. So Andrea, let's talk about alums and how to advise people to tap back into their universities or colleges, especially if they find themselves going through career transition. What advice can you give to our audience?
I think a lot of people don't realize it, but many universities, most universities have some kind of support system in place for their alum. Career centers that we at Seton Hall see about 200 alumni in a year. And it's really, it's a great resource for alum, for anyone from someone who just graduated, a young alum, to someone that's more seasoned.
Are you giving them the directory? I guess there's always a directory, right, that people can purchase. I always buy mine from my college because it's nice to stay in touch, but it's always great to have that just in case or to help connect people.
A directory
of the student or the alums that, there's a directory that comes out every couple of years.
Yeah. Well, we actually, we have a Pirate Mentor alumni program that is managed through our Career Center, where we have alumni who actually give back by acting as mentors or coaches to students and fellow alum. So alumni can also connect with them as well.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah.
And have you found that people have gotten job connections through that?
Yeah, absolutely. And also a lot of them, of alum that are coming, they're coming for various reasons. Obviously lately it's been more because of downsizing and reorgs, but many are coming for career changes, for, just some, to connect back, to get some connections back with their, with Seton Hall. Really just a gamut of reasons.
I think that's always an untapped resource.
It absolutely is. I think a lot of people don't know about it. We, try to promote it as much as we can. We have our website. We're at functions. We have, but you're right. A lot of people don't.
Do you have people that are part of the alumni group that go to different cities or look where there's pockets of Seton Hall grads to have like cocktail hours or get-togethers and that nature? Does Seton Hall do that?
We do. It's through our alumni relations
Okay.
department. That's not really through us, but we absolutely have that.
So I think of that as the networking aspect.
Right.
Just kind of if because we have one. I went to a small school in Pennsylvania, and they actually have one coming up in New York City because there's a pocket of people in the metro
Yes.
area. So
Yes,
I
our
think how
alum-
fun to pull that in and go to those things, even if you don't know anybody.
Yes, absolutely.
It's a good challenge. Brush up on those networking skills
Yes.
and make new contacts. When alumni come in who maybe have been downsized or going through transition, are there online tools that are provided, or is it more of maybe helping them update a resume or just kind of looking at job boards, or what kind of things does Seton Hall do for alums?
We have a variety of services. It can be anything from, just coming in for a resume critique or maybe working with us to help them with job search strategies. We have a database. We actually have two databases. One is for our undergrad graduate population students. The other is for alumni. We do have one that's dedicated to our population where we post positions from our employers as well as from it's alum to alum as well. We also, depending on their needs, if someone's coming for a career change, we do assessments with them, like Myers-Briggs type indicator or strong interest inventory. We have really, a variety of tools that they can tap into. We use Vault. It's a career library that they can have access to as well. We have, or it could just be coming in and tapping into our Pirate Mentor program that I mentioned with alum, or using us to kind of to market them with some of the employer contacts that we have.
Do you actively bring employers to campus for the different graduates and the undergraduates to interview with? Is that a big process of the Career Center?
Yes, we bring a lot of hundreds of employers come on campus, whether it be for on-campus interviewing or for our career fairs. We do about 7 or 8 a year in various sectors, nonprofit, healthcare, education, business careers. We have employers that that aren't coming on campus, but that we have relationships with. So we do a lot of employer development.
That's nice. I think for the kids to be able to just walk right around the corner from their dorm and have this wealth of organizations and career support is such a great gift.
It really is.
Because those are the tools that people really need to hone in on. And we were talking before about how the social skills are so important, and to bring them right to campus is such a huge boon for these young people to get a little bit of flavor before they take that train into New York City and try things on for size maybe for the first time.
Yeah, and also or just use it as a networking opportunity as well, because a lot of the employers that come back are alum. So it's, we have so many students that they don't go because they're not really looking for a job or looking for an internship at that time, but we stress that they and alum are welcome to come, and they should come just for the networking and practice.
No, it's always good practice. And you never know who you're going to meet or when you're going to meet, and who you can help that at some point might come back around and be able to assist you or connect you in some way.
Absolutely.
What are you finding to be the most important tools right now for the the undergrads or the graduates when looking at a job in this economy? What are the main principles that you're trying to really drive home to them as they explore this new world of work that we're facing?
Well, first of all, I mean, it's empowering them to do this on their own and realize that they really need to engage in an active search. And this is for, for the undergrad through the seasoned professional alumni. They need to, there's a passive and active search.
Describe both, please.
Okay.
So we know.
A passive search is really a search of, looking on job boards, looking on or databases, looking in the newspaper, looking at positions that are out there that are, using recruiters.
Or just sending your resume to the black hole.
Or sending your
saying,
resume
I did my part. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's important to some extent, but an active search is really one where you sort of take the reins and do more of a targeted search, start looking for opportunities that aren't necessarily posted, but sending a resume to a decision maker in a company that really to get yourself ahead of the competition. So it's important to, for the student, it's, we just need to, it's not just us. They can't depend completely on a database and us to find a position. They need to go out there. They need to network, and networking is really a really big aspect of active searches. Getting out there, getting informational meetings, meeting with our alum, going to our events, just getting out there.
What advice would you give for someone trying to set up an information meeting with somebody, as far as like opening lines or the best way to go about doing that once they have their target companies that they might be interested in?
Well, I think you definitely need to be prepared with, understanding, again, going back to that self-assessment, understanding what your strengths are, how to market yourself, really understanding your brand, who you are, and then being able to, and it takes some practice. I know some undergrads might be a little hesitant to do this, but, starting with maybe a group that, for instance, our alum, our pirate mentors, and asking for advice, asking, my name is Joe Smith, I'm a marketing major, and I'm really interested in market research. I understand you have that background. I was wondering if I can take some of your time to ask you questions about your career path, and maybe if you can provide advice to me. And people are willing to give advice and to help others. And I think, there's some that might not, but I think it's worth trying, especially in this market.
Yeah, to connect and ask. Okay, there's one question that I've always enjoyed asking, even now when exploring opportunities in my own profession, is if you were me, who should I be talking to? Or if you were in my shoes, what would you be doing right now? And I find it just even that question gets people to go, good question. Like, okay, considering the economic environment and the world and the trends of work that we see right now, it helps people kind of put on the other person's shoes for a little bit in that way. What do you think the biggest challenges or obstacles that the undergrads or graduates are facing right now? Is it more in the lines of there's just not as many opportunities now? Is that one of the biggest ones, or what would you say?
I mean, there aren't as many opportunities, and there is also a lot of competition out there. A lot of people that are more seasoned and experienced are going for or staying employed or going for positions that they might not necessarily have gone for in the past, taking steps back to get a foot in the door because maybe they've been downside for a long time. But it's not impossible, to get something. And again, it's starting early, it's using resources, it's networking. And one tool definitely that we stress and are helping our students and alum use is LinkedIn.
Okay. So talk a little bit about that. What have you found? 'Cause I'm a fan of it also, and it is. I wish it existed years ago when I really needed it, because it's you can spend hours and really see your connections. How do you teach the younger people to post their information? Because that's also part of their brand. It's like a virtual resume almost.
Yes, it is.
And so important how you line that up. And they haven't had the years of experience, many folks. So they maybe have a summer internship or babysitting or camp counseling and ways if they're a younger person getting on LinkedIn. Are you encouraging from freshmen through on, or more
not necessarily
seniors and graduates more so? Okay.
More seniors, junior, senior level that have had some internships under their belt, where they have a target, and a career that they want to pursue. But absolutely, I work with the alum and the grad students, and I'm absolutely stressing that they get onto LinkedIn, because I believe it's really just as equally important as having a resume, your social, your online presence, and using the tool not just for your own profile, but also to do company research, to find, professionals that are working in positions that one might get an informational meeting with.
Okay.
So for a variety of reasons, joining groups and professional associations that where they can perhaps get involved in discussions, find job postings through these groups or through LinkedIn, really, tapping into it and using it to its fullest.
That's good advice. When it comes to resumes, how many pages should a resume be, and how do you determine that?
One page is really what we tell our students, especially those that don't have any professional experience. There's no excuse to have it beyond one page if you're...
No matter how
you
special
don't-
they are. Yeah.
No matter how, yes. Of course, depends on industries. But for someone, a seasoned professional that has over 10, 15 years experience, they can go beyond that one page, but still keeping it as succinct as possible. But for
It's
students,
not a biography.
It's not a biography. There are going to be some variations depending on industries, like the education industry or,
Yeah, it turns into more of a CV. or
psychology. It's more of a
something.
CV
Okay.
or a little longer, but for a student, it should not be more than one page.
Okay, that's very good advice. So if people want to learn more about the Seton Hall Career Center and about Seton Hall in general, what is the website for the school? We'll be posting that.
You can find it through a search on our regular website, shu.edu, or shu.go-careers.
Oh, cute, okay. And is Seton Hall on LinkedIn?
Yes, we are. The Career
Okay.
Center's on LinkedIn.
Oh, great.
So we do have an account.
Okay, great. So we can tell any alums watching us today to
Yes.
definitely tap into you all as a resource.
Absolutely.
And for people looking at joining Seton Hall, to make sure those freshmen come running to you and introduce themselves to
Yes.
you and your team. So thank you very much for being here today.
Thank you.
And for sharing your wonderful words of wisdom for our young people and also our graduates and alums that can tap into their own schools and look at Seton Hall as a resource too for those folks that are graduates, because they're around here. We are in New
Yes.
Jersey, so that's great. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
And thank all of you for coming to the Career Corner and watching us today. If you have any ideas of what you'd like to see for future shows or any feedback, you can go to heatherswift.net. And we look forward to seeing you again. And until then, I wish you much career success.